Yeah, yeah. In your house with O'Con. Hey, O'Con in your house. Hollywood in your house. Hypocrisy's head in the clouds. Curating all kind of loud. Wrestling in front of the crowds. Paragon's holding it down. Anybody can get it. Josh Joseph standing on his decisions. He is the voice. There is no choice. We is them boys in your house making wrestling noise. Moving fast just like cruiserweight action. In your house is the perfect distraction. Bumpers in your ears when you in traction. Get this work with some wrestling action. Smoke. What is up, guys? What is cracking? It's the Con Man, and I am in your house. And you guys already know the vibes. Anytime we slide on through, we're here to give you that work when it comes to this professional wrestling business. And guys, we are back on a Wednesday, and I'm out here doing my thing. You guys already know I'm on the back end of my vacation here. So I just been chilling, doing my thing, going to the gym, and enjoying just not having to go to work and enjoy what is to come. And that is a big wrestling weekend. And ladies and gentlemen, when we talk all things Monday Night Raw on Wednesday, that means it's time to get raw. I can't do that without my co-host. She's returned here on the show. She's divinely designed. That's Annie O'Neal. What is up, Annie?
What's up, everyone? It is good to be back, and it's been a minute. It's been a minute. I've had electric forest. I've been, um, overcoming bronchitis, and I just happen to be engaged to a certain agent of chaos. Another one of
Yes.
our own, Kevin Calloway. Yep, that's it. That is
Congrats
true.
on that.
Thank you. So, yeah, a lot has been going on, and I'm reintegrating back into what feels like normal civilian life. If normal is a phrase that we can use anymore, I don't know. Life is weird. Life has been really weird, but what do we do best? We talk about Monday Night Raw and everything surrounding wrestling. So, damn, it's good to be back.
We are glad to have you back here, Annie. You've been through a whole journey in the last few weeks, and we're happy to hear it. We're happy to hear everything that's going on with you as far as being engaged, getting over illness. That's not too great, but we're happy that you're getting over it and whatnot, and just out there, just vibing and doing your thing.
Yeah.
So like that's really cool. That's great. And when you go out there and do that, it's always good to get you back and into the wrestling
Really good.
circle, and we discuss it and do what we do best, and that's give it to them raw right here on the Raw Deal with House and O'Neal.
Absolutely. Giving it to them raw. Raw on a Wednesday. Right in the middle of
Most
the week. Right when people need it
exactly,
the most.
exactly.
Doing the
They
Lord's
need
work,
that.
everyone. Doing the Lord's work.
That is right.
Can I get
That's
a
what we need.
hallelujah?
Hallelujah.
Can I get an amen? Amen.
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 Most definitely. And man, hallelujah and amen
Mhm.
for wrestling. And like I was saying,
Yeah.
we got a big massive weekend that's coming up for wrestling this coming weekend here, Annie. I mean, we've got NXT, the Great American Bash. We've got
So much.
AEW
I didn't
presenting.
realize.
Yeah, all in Texas. We've got all that. And then also we have Saturday night main event. And this is all happening on Saturday. And then that doesn't even end there because on Sunday we have Evolution 2. WWE presents Evolution, the all women's pay per view. A lot to get into. We definitely had Monday Night Raw. We're going to talk about this. But man, Annie, we have a massive weekend ahead of us for some wrestling. Saturday is going to be a long one, and then Sunday too. What are you thinking? All this wrestling coming up this coming weekend.
I feel a little overwhelmed, but that's great because, well, this is what we do. This is what brings us joy in life. So, like, why not get lost in all that's going on? There is so much, and there's so much on the radar to be happy about. Whether, and I see a lot of criticism online all the time because, of course, very few humans are actually happy. But like, they're like there's just so much to unpack that's going on at once. It's like, and it's causing my ADHD to like hyperfixate. So
Man.
I yeah, like there's I don't even know where to start, but Monday Night Raw is a good one.
Most definitely. That's where we started all off at, because this was the final Monday Night Raw before this big weekend that is coming up. And I honestly thought it was a pretty good one. A lot of stories moved in this
Mhm.
Monday Night Raw. But I got to ask you, because I got to give it over to you. It's been a while since you've
Absolutely.
been on the show. Was there anything in particular on Monday Night Raw that kind of stuck out to you that really, that really got your attention?
You know what? It was the very first segment with the unnamed faction.
Yeah.
Uh, all of them just dove separately into their own singular storylines with people, and I thought that was really an interesting way to line them up and then just swiftly knock them down. Because like it almost felt like there was no time wasted. Everything was short, sweet, and right to the point. Um, there was one point where Braun Breaker had his voice cracked, and he was so pissed off, but he was going to laugh about it at the same time because I've been there myself when I'm in the middle
Mm,
of unloading like when I am announcing the main event. Like that's where all of the energy goes into, and we're creating the biggest moment of the night, and like
yeah.
that's when the vibration is the highest, and like I'm pulling energy from the core of the center of the earth, and like I'm using my energy to just bring this whole experience to its head. And then when my voice cracks, oh, it's
Yeah.
devastating. It's devastating. It's like the railroad uh just like switch tracks, and then you're just hyper aware of yourself, and like all of this, like you have this all of it in your head, and then well you just pivot because
Yeah.
and it was like you can't help but laugh after a moment like that, but the show keeps on going, and like credit to Braun Breaker for for just like not breaking
Keep on going.
character in that moment, because like and like crowds like these days they're ruthless. Like
Oh yeah.
everyone is 1 second away from being memed, so like you own that shit and you don't bring attention to it, and you keep the train moving.
Yeah, that's what you have to do. I'm somebody who enjoys Braun Breaker quite a bit. I love the intensity that he brings. I do like the little wrinkle in there that they're adding, that he's kind of like the loose cannon of the group.
Mhm.
Like the way he just kind of stole the mic and came in, and automatically people went to like, oh, there's dissension in the group, and oh, there, Braun Breaker is gonna break away with it. I'm like, we're not even anywhere near that
Right.
story at all. Like the only thing they're trying to get across is that Braun Breaker is a loose cannon. He's gonna
Mhm.
lose his cool. He's gonna lose his shit. He's gonna question himself, and he's gonna do that. Like this is who we're building with Braun Breaker. And instead of already getting your mind right to, oh well, the group's about to break up, why not just put it in the lane of, no, this is actually character building for somebody like Braun Breaker.
Absolutely. And like that's just a testament to who he is anyway. So like just like those little details, like they're so important, but uh I feel like so many the mentality is just living in fast forward always, and like this is a different time in WWE where we have to slow down. Like you're not going to get things before they're ready to happen.
Right.
So it's and I think that's honestly it's being used against us and for our benefit too. So and like if he is being portrayed as the loose cannon, it makes sense that the gestures follow. Like he can't be contained, but I like the energy that Bronson Reed brings to the table, because he is that slow burn, like
Yeah.
the it's almost like the volcano, like the moment before the volcano erupts and everything is silent and still, and then like once that boiling point is reached, then you see it. And it's a really interesting dichotomy to the loose cannon that Braun Breaker is.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
like it was brought up that Braun he grabbed that microphone, and then after Bronson he took that mic, he was like, "Here, okay, give it to me, my turn, I'm going to speak now."
Mm-hmm.
It was just something that kind of like it parallels the loose cannon that is Braun Breaker, and it's really, really, really interesting. And I really appreciated Paul Heyman's bit in this opening promo. Um, because he is that person who is driving these people into the next generation. We are seeing the building of that next branch of WWE into the future. There are those who are retiring, and it's time for that torch being passed, and who better to lay that foundation into that next generation than Paul Heyman? Like, it was evident in his promo. He How many years have we seen Paul Heyman? And he is only associated with the best of the best of the best, and that is being written for Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker right now, while still being at the helm of Seth Rollins.
Yeah, no, that's good analysis. You're right. This is exactly what you're saying is exactly what I'm
Hmm.
seeing right now
Hmm.
is these guys are the future. They're trying to pivot them into that future and give them their ways because we kind of saw it like they see the vision with Bronson Reed, and I think the truth of the matter is they want Bronson Reed to work because before he shattered his ankle,
Hmm.
they had him with the bloodline.
Hmm.
So they are already put in their mind that they want to put him in a position to where he
Right.
can be more in storylines, not just a monster who comes out and does monstrous things and then has no purpose. They want these guys to have a purpose. They have definitely got them in the plans right now
Hmm.
to be a top tier talent. But I want to bring this into the conversation as well. And we're
Hmm.
just kind of like organically talking and going through Monday Night Raw as we're going.
Hmm.
You had somebody like Penta who was involved in the main event segment. It seems like they're involving Penta more. Are
Hmm.
you is that's what I wanted to bring to the table. Are you seeing it? Are you kind of seeing like they're wanting to put Penta into the main event light?
I still think I agree with you. I agree with you, but that I believe that is something that needs some more build over time. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I want to see Penta over the course of the year. What is he going to do with the storyline, and how is he going to bring that to the next point? What is he going to bring out of his competitor? What kind of character is he in within different circumstances? What does he do under pressure? I really want to see that thinking. I I That's what I want to see. And for me, I absolutely enjoy Penta. I think he has an amazing persona and an aura that feels just like it's out of this atmosphere. It really does. But I want to see that incrementally increase over time. Um, I feel that, yeah, that's just what I want to see. And how about you? Because that's a really good question.
I think they are trying to put him in that main event
I
light.
do.
I mean, I, with you, what you're saying as far as like it still needs time. I agree with that. I think they
Mhm.
still need time to grow it, but I think that's what they're trying to do is put him in like that Rey Mysterio
Yeah.
esque type slot, where he's just like the big. It could, and there's not a lot of them. Like, there's not a lot of guys that
Mhm.
are luchadors that could say they're mainstream luchadors.
Right.
Rey
Right.
Mysterio is in a very, very rare light where
Mhm.
he's a guy with the mask that everybody just it was popular. Kids wear the mask,
Right.
and they get behind him like that. Penta could definitely fill in that lane. I think that's what they're wanting to do. They see it with him, but yeah, as far as him being there, he's not there yet. But the fact that he's mixing it up with guys like Seth Rollins
Right.
main eventing Monday Night Raws, it's a good sign that they want to do something with him in the somewhat near future.
He's someone I really want to see solidified through the mid card. I
Yeah.
think that's only going to give him more reps, more opportunities for people to create an emotional attachment. that they have to someone like Rey Mysterio. And to be honest, do you think that that could happen while Rey Mysterio is still in the picture? And honestly, I don't foresee Rey Mysterio being around much longer. I really
Mm-mm.
don't. But I feel like as long as Rey Mysterio is around, I feel like the trajectory that they want to go with Penta, because I do think you're definitely right about that. I feel like just might be lost in Rey Mysterio's shadow, and I don't want that to happen.
Maybe that's why Rey Mysterio's been off of TV.
Sure, sure, that makes a lot of
That's
sense.
That's where my mind goes to because they take him off TV because of exactly the reason that you're saying. They want people to think Penta is in that Rey Mysterio-esque lane.
Mhm,
The guy who does the cool walk with the cool music and the
mhm,
awesome mask and kids like it and he has the cool catchphrase and everything and the more because I see exactly what you're saying, and I'm
yeah,
just formulating it into
absolutely.
words right now.
Mhm,
Is the more people forget Rey Mysterio, the more they will embrace
right,
Penta.
right. And at the same token, to play the devil's advocate, um, it helps people bridge that association if they're closer in proximity. But yeah, it's I would like to see, and also we don't know Rey Mysterio's timeline, so it could be expeditiously happening while we're simultaneously talking about it. Um, oh, there was another point in the opening promo to Raw that I pointed out as a point of dissension. It was when Bronson Reed now acknowledged the six tsunamis that he gave to Seth Rollins like this time last year.
Hmm.
And now that, like, you have this point of contention between two people, and then next they are running mates with each other. So w- did that hit on your radar at all? Like it was kind of it was a little confusing to me. Like what do you think the purpose of that was, of Bronson Reed bringing that up when during his portion?
Honestly, I that that got on my radar too, so I'm glad you
Yeah.
brought it up.
Mhm.
I thought it was kind of redundant
Sure.
because Seth Rollins had already said that that's why he brought him in the group.
Mhm.
He Seth Rollins already said that in a promo another week said I
Mhm.
brought him in the group because he's going to do what it takes to do what he needs to do to get in those spots to be in those situations
Mhm.
and I respect that.
Mhm.
So I thought it was kind of redundant because if I'm Seth right there like standing right there and I'm supposed to be the faction leader, I'm like, dude, you just talked about Tsunami and me six
Right.
times. You're making me
Right.
look dumb. You know
For
like
real.
so like I just thought it was redundant. I once again I like Bronson Reed a lot.
Mhm.
I think that like maybe he needs to maybe be a little bit more
Mhm.
like precise when he's on the mic, like
Mhm.
be a little bit more concise and because when sometimes when you talk too much, you just end up talking in circles and not talking about
Right.
nothing.
Right.
So maybe just keep it a little tight. That's what I would say. But
Mhm.
yeah, to me, I didn't vibe with that just because it felt like it made Seth look dumb a
Yeah.
little bit.
Sure. Sure. And okay, so Sami Zayn's involvement with Karrion Cross. Do you think at some point the unnamed faction will be in collusion with Karrion Cross? Do you think that could be in the fold?
I don't know because it seems like they're. I don't know what they. I'm glad you brought this up because it was going to be something that I brought up anyway,
Mhm.
and that's carrying cross. I he's in a very weird lane right now
It's like limbo,
because
wrestling limbo.
yeah, it's weird because you have Sami Zayn who's like it's not even manufactured that way. He organically got over as one of like the top baby faces, plays the underdog so
Mhm.
well, more than anybody I could think of recently that he just plays
Right.
that underdog character so good. And then you have Karrion Cross who comes out during his entrance, attacks him with the weapon, takes him out, and the crowd is going nuts. They're loving it. And I don't think it's so much more like they don't like Sami Zayn, but they want Karrion Kross. And I just don't know where you go with them, because I don't think they'd put him in that faction, because he would just probably get cheered in it.
Right.
So I don't know, but he's in a weird lane right now.
I mean, and does it necessarily mean that he has to join that faction in order for them to like, I don't know, like work side by side with each other? Because
No,
because
no, he
Karrion
doesn't have to
Kross
be in there. No.
is in some weird wrestling state right now, because where does he go after Night of Champions?
That's what I don't know, because his character is designed to be a heel, but he's getting face pops. So now it's like, where do we go from here? Like, this is this. Like I said, he's in a weird lane right now where the people want him, but by design, he's supposed to be this sinister heel that gets in people's heads, the devil on people's shoulders. I really don't know how they write themselves through this.
And how do you do that when the crowd loves him?
Right.
No, that's one of the indirect consequences of having so many people love you.
Yeah, you
It
can't
doesn't matter
like
what you do. They're going to love
yeah,
you.
they're gonna love everything that he does. Like, he could beat up Sami Zayn, he could beat up one of the most beloved baby faces, and it's not gonna matter. So I don't know. I'm interested in what they're doing with Karrion Cross. I just don't know where they go from here, and maybe that's why. Maybe it's the fact that I don't know is why I'm so interested.
Because wherever he goes, Scarlet is in tow. So that's okay with me. It's definitely okay
Oh
with me.
yeah, yeah, most definitely. I don't think anybody would have a problem
Nope.
with that.
Nope. Nope.
No, not at all. But let's keep it moving here, because we got to talk a little bit about what is going down this coming Sunday. That is Evolution. And you have Lyra Valkyria. She took out the Intercontinental Champion Becky Lynch and Bayley ahead of their triple threat match at WWE Evolution. We had this discussion this past Sunday,
Hmm.
as far as like the women's mid card, and like how the women's mid card is super strong right now. At least it feels like it's super strong right now. And you had Lyra Valkyria, who they were really trying to develop. She stood tall. She took down both Becky Lynch and Bayley. Stood tall in that segment. What are you thinking about this triple threat feud for the women's IC title between these three women?
I really feel like we're approaching that point where I was talking before about Lyra Valkyria, and we're getting to the core of her character development. She's not quite there yet, but that
Mhm.
shell is breaking, because who is she going to become and under immense pressure? And I really like this this layup that Bailey set for her, because during one of Bailey's segments, she said, after you won that title, you held her hand up like a little bitch.
I
And
love that part.
that rattled Lyra. Her eyes are open, and then her choices are circling back to her, because we can't outrun the past. What's done is done. And what kind of message does that send to other people now that we see this version of Lyra? Like, who do you become in that moment where you come face to face with your choices? Because you don't step in the same river twice. You are not the same person. So I like seeing this raw, this gritty version of Lyra, because one of the best people I feel like who speaks the truth is Bailey, because when she's on it, she's on it. And when she pulls back that string on her bow, X marks the spot. It really does.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy, because I remember months ago on this very show, this very
Mhm.
podcast, you had said you liked Lyra Valkyria, but you thought she was too pretty, too cleaned up, too much of a perfect version of herself. And I think that the lane that they're going into is exactly what she needed is exactly what she said all those months ago, is that they're giving her some real adversity. She's having to go through some things. She's having to get a little bit more gritty. She's having to deal with more in your face. She's not just coming out and like, oh,
Mhm.
look at me, I'm the perfect bird lady, and having,
Yep.
four to five star matches on a week to week basis, and I'm the, decorated IC champion and former NXT women's champion. Now she's actually having to get down and dirty, and none of that stuff matters because
Mhm.
now it's getting really personal. And I think that she's getting in a really good lane. There's a really good, in my mind, there's a really good lane for her, Roxanne Perez, and Julia to be the solid foundation of like the women's mid card, and then you
Mhm.
could see all three of those women organically make their way to the women's main event.
The the valedictorian moves the needle from being the valedictorian to being the complete and total burnout. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it because it's on the way back up. You find out who you are. Do you think Roxanne has um skyrocketed too early?
No, and here's why.
Mhm. Mhm.
I think that they were looking for a way to naturally integrate her into storylines.
Mhm.
So it's easy to think that like she's got skyrocketed because she's
Mhm.
into, she's in with the Judgment Day, but
Mhm.
trust and believe that this Judgment Day stuff isn't going to last very long for her. I give it a few months before Liv comes back and this whole thing explodes, and we'll see whatever the Judgment Day becomes. Because at this point, I'm done saying, oh well, now the Judgment Day is gonna break up, because I feel like we've said the Judgment Day is gonna break up for like the last 2 or 3 summers, and it never happens. They always end up coming back, and they always end up having all the titles: the women's tag team titles, the world tag team championships, the intercontinental championships. The fact that they've had former women's world champions in the group. They've had former world heavyweight champions in the group. We can't sit up here and say that the Judgment Day is going to break up, because every time we think that they do, they just metamorphose into something else. So I don't think she's going to stay in the group. I think that Roxanne Perez is in a good lane right now where she
Mhm.
can come in, she could tag team up with Raquel Rodriguez. The storyline is there, and then she can weasel her way into doing what the Prodigy does best, and that's finding her way to singles gold.
And I think the timing on this move for Roxanne Perez was just so interesting. I know she was slowly being integrated into the Judgment Day, but with Liv Morgan's injury, it was just one of those things that worked out where it felt like it wrote itself
Yeah.
because I feel like this was going to happen anyway. And now then when Liv comes back, her best friend's gone, her man's gone, her group is gone,
Yep.
and then it's just gonna implode. And or you know what? Who knows? By then, maybe we'll be on generation. What generation of Judgment Day are we on now?
Five,
5?
4, 5, something
Okay, it
like
might be
that.
35, but hey, I mean, I don't make the writing. We just speculate on it, so this is what we get.
For sure. No, I like the direction of the women's mid card. I like the fact that Roxanne Perez, they found a lane for her. They found a lane for Lyra Valkyria here in the mid card. And then you have Julia, who's now the United States champion over on the SmackDown side of things. I want to go ahead and head the chat real quick because we got Cheryl. She's saying that she's watching and checking out everything we're doing. And we have
What's
Ken. He's
up?
jumping in real quick. He's saying, watching from the up of Michigan, fight through this, save your voice. So showing a little love there. Yep, make sure you're drinking your water there. We appreciate y'all coming in and talking
Thank
with
you, thank
us. We're
you.
talking some Monday Night Raw, and I gotta say, we talked a lot about Seth Rollins' faction. They really looked dominant throughout this Monday Night Raw. Everybody just looked like they were on top of it. And I know we touched base on this a little bit, but I got to ask you, where are you at now with El Grande Americano? Because They had him win a match against Dragon Lee last night. We know all the stuff going on with Chad Gable and his injury and whatnot. Where are you at with the current iteration of El Grande Americano?
I think it's hilarious still. Um, like because that is the purpose of lucha libre. Anyone can put on that mask and they can embody that persona. It's more than just a mask, and you know who knows who it really is. El Grande Americano. Any like like Spider-Man. Anyone could be Spider-Man.
Yeah, true that. True that. So are you all right? So I'm watching that
Mhm.
match and like I'm seeing that it's Kaiser. I mean, to me it's clearly Kaiser and I'm like, man, he's it's the mannerisms. They're very I think it's hard for Kaiser to be anybody but Kaiser because I really saw those mannerisms. I'm like, man, you're making it so obvious. I enjoy it. I think that it's fun that they're going to try to hold it down until whenever Chad comes back. I don't know the timeline on his injury. I'd have to look that up.
What happened? Do you
I,
recall?
I don't. I don't. It was some undisclosed injury. I think it
Yeah.
happened during that weekend where he was wrestling in like AAA, and he was wrestling
Right.
like 3 matches that weekend.
Right.
So I think it was during that course. I like I said, I can't say exactly what the injury is.
I think a
But
shoulder injury.
was it a shoulder injury?
Yep.
I think he had to have surgery on it too.
Oh. Oof.
Yeah, so if he had to have surgery, he's probably out for a little bit.
Because that same weekend, I think Stephanie Vicaire, she had no, she had two matches. She had a tag team
Yes.
match on the NXT show, and then the singles match. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She had a single. I'm trying to remember it all here. But yeah, she was in a
Mhm.
multi-person match and then she was in a singles match. But it's actually no, she was in Money in the Bank.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Now it's
That's
coming
what.
back to me now. Yeah, she
Right.
was in so yeah, she was in the multi-persons tag match for AAA, and then in in the Money in the Bank briefcase ladder match that night. So yeah, she had a busy weekend herself too. But yeah, he ended up getting injured, but it's gonna be interesting to see where that goes. And another thing, real quick before we take a break here,
Mhm.
that's interesting, is man, I heard what I heard. I can't deny what I heard. Bill Goldberg shows up as Gunther is back in the ring, cutting the promos that he's been cutting for the last few weeks. You
Mhm.
have Goldberg that's coming in. Goldberg's got such a huge pop, and it makes me sick because I'm not a big fan of Goldberg at all. But I
Yeah,
can't
I could
deny
have rolled
that
my
pop.
eyes so hard that I saw my brain. Because, like, I see the comment sections, and they're not in direct proportion to the pop that I heard. So,
Yeah,
pick a lane, people. I'm confused.
I was gonna say, do we hate him or do we not? Like, let me know here.
I You know what? Like, I really have no opinion on the matter. Um, I Sometimes the legend comebacks are hit or miss for me. I know the
Yeah.
purpose. I see it. Ugh, just I just not a big fan of Goldberg. Just not a big fan.
No, we've had many conversations
Yeah.
on this show about Goldberg, a lot on this channel, and it's just like you can tell that he's somebody who just comes and collects a
Mhm.
paycheck. You know,
Right.
like that's exactly what. And then like he didn't really get integrated really well into WWE because when
Mhm.
he was having his big run in WW or WCW, that is,
Mhm.
it was in around 1997. Goldberg fever was wild in that time, and he didn't have to be a great in-ring performer to to be popular. People just thought he was just unstoppable and he was like the Superman and yada this and that. Goldberg, and you did he put on not so great matches. He hurt people. He didn't seem to really care. He had an ego, and just somebody who's not really smiled upon fondly when it comes to professional wrestling. Like, of course, there's people that are like fair weather, maybe not
Mhm.
fans anymore and whatnot, that remember Goldberg time and they think that he's awesome because they don't know who the man is. They're just like, oh yeah, I remember Goldberg. He was awesome, you
Mhm.
know. But when you stayed with wrestling as long as we have, me, you, all the members of the household, we know, you know, a lot about Goldberg, and it just turns us off from the man, you know. So it, it's going to be his retirement match at Saturday Night
Right.
Main Event. It's going to be. It is what it is. He got his pop, but man, I really hope they don't try to pull something where they let that man win the title.
Because on paper, Gunter and Goldberg, it seems like it just sells itself. But it's just very underwhelming for me. And I like there are parts of me that wants to be invested, but I'm also not gonna lie to myself because I don't do that. So, ugh. and and like the car scene where he just pulls up in this nice ass Mustang, I'm
Yeah,
like, great, who could that be? I'm like, oh, it's Goldberg. I'm
it's
not excited.
Goldberg.
Yeah, yeah, and I don't want to have that reaction, but that's just what we're working with. And
Yeah.
I'm do you think that how do you feel about the manner in which Gunter won the heavyweight title from Jay? Do you think that was too soon, or do you think it lasted as long as it needed to?
I honestly, in my opinion, especially the way things are playing out, like I ask myself, and a lot of people are asking themselves in the household, because I've seen this question come up in our Discord. If you guys get a chance to follow our Discord, but this question's come up. Why does the title need to be on the line against Goldberg if this is his retirement match? Why would he need to fight for the title if he's retiring? This is his final match. You ended the Jey Uso run to put the title in seemingly what seems to be a nonsensical feud, because you could have done this exact same thing and the title not be on the line at all.
Right, because not
You
every
didn't need the
right,
title.
not every match that Gunter needs to be in, it has to be for the title. And unless they're setting up for Seth Rollins to, you know, kill the switch.
Cash in.
Yeah,
That's been a topic of conversation as well. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens with
absolutely.
that, because you never really know what's going to happen when the Money in the Bank briefcase gets involved. And I was just talking about the pop that Goldberg got.
Mhm.
We're about to take a break because we're about to pop the household here and give them a really cool NXT segment. It's a recap that my son did. We're about to do that as we take a break. But before we do that, I talk about big pops and the big pop that Goldberg got. Somebody else who got a huge, massive pop and does consistently is LA Knight. LA Knight seems to be really integrated into this Seth Rollins story. He comes out, does a little hit and run on Seth Rollins with the
Mhm.
BFT, runs into the crowd. Crowd's going nuts. Crowd's going crazy. It's causing me to start to have to re-question how I view LA Knight. And I've got guys like Voice, I've got guys like Hype. They're still like, I don't see it. I can't stand him. He's annoying. He's just a catchphrase. But I'm seeing things a little bit differently, because it really seems like they're trying to put LA Knight in a position to kind of be almost like that Stone Cold Esh type guy
Mhm.
that will come out and talk some mess and come out and take care of everybody or whoever needs to be taken care of. Where are you at with LA Knight at this point? Because they've got him in a very, very strange lane where he's feuding with the main event faction. Where are you at with him right now?
He's kind of in the same category with me as Karrion Cross right now. He's kind of in wrestling limbo for me because
Mm-hmm.
I like LA Knight. I like his energy. I like what he brings to the table. I think he works his ass off. He knows how to command a room, and he has the crowd behind him, which I think it's very important. But I just don't understand the psychology of how he's being interwoven in to this main event scene on Raw right now. I,
Feels a little forced.
it feels random to me.
Yeah.
And you know what? And these things have a habit of revealing themselves, but I just don't understand it at this point because I like how and why there's still a big question for me. How did he make the transition from SmackDown into onto Raw, and why?
Right.
He's not a champion. He's not Cody Rhodes. He's not John Cena. He's not really at least one of these people I feel like who can just come and go as they please.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what is the purpose? And that is one major thing that's holding me back because I do like LA Knight.
I agree with you there. I totally agree with you there. It does feel forced. It does feel random because I remember when it happened,
Mhm.
we were in our IYH Brain Trust group chat, and we were all kind of like, that was that was a great show, but why was LA Knight there? And they've just gone with it, like that's what they're doing. They're just going with it
Mhm.
without any real backstory. I don't
Right.
know. Like you said, I like LA Knight, but it seems like they really just want him out there because he elicits fan responses. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that was a huge one. Um, give it a few months, it might be on par with the Yeet. So, I mean, that's definitely possible, but I I need to understand why because I'm not one of those people who can just go along with what's being presented. I have questions.
Yeah.
So, and until then, until some of the voids are filled in, it's just like yeah, he's awesome, but I don't want to just like someone just because that's the
It's the cool thing to
exactly
do. Yeah.
yeah. Mm.
I
So,
agree with you. No,
mhm,
I agree with you. I think that's why there are some people that reject him
yeah.
because it's just like, hey, we're forcing this on you. Like, does he have all those traits? Yeah, he does, but
Mhm,
like, it doesn't feel organic yet.
mhm.
So I think that's a part of it. But
The
listen,
Penta push feels more organic than the LA Knight
mm,
one because
wow,
you know what? Like it almost parallels what we were saying earlier about Penta. Like he
yeah.
is being pushed into that main event scene, which yeah, cool. I feel like he's had I mean, he's been on Raw since what, February now?
It's been since before Mania for sure.
So we've had the time for that to naturally matriculate. But then like LA Knight is just copy and pasted into the Raw universe and I'm just why? What's
That
going on?
always seems to be the thing with LA Knight is that he feels very copy and pasty in a lot of ways. I promise that he does. But that's a whole conversation that can continue to be had at a later time because, guys, we have a big weekend of wrestling coming up. So much going down, whether it be AEW and they're doing All In Texas, whether it be Saturday Night Main Event, whether it be what we're going to talk about on the other side of this break, which is Evolution. We're going to get Annie's predictions for the show. Or what we're about to hear here in a second, NXT is about to be having the Great American Bash. They had their show last night. We're going to take a break, pay a few bills, then we're going to come back. We're going to talk about Evolution, but let's hear about all things that happened last night on NXT for my man Elijah as he's giving you NXT in a minute. We'll talk to you in about a minute.
Here's NXT in a minute. Ricky Sand successfully ran the Vanity Project Gauntlet and won a Falls Count Anywhere match for the North American title at Great American Bash. Trick Williams attacked Mike Santana and Joe Hendry, and further extending our feud. Obafemi and Yoshiki Inamura spoke before their match at Great American Bash, where Yoshiki Inamura got the upper hand at the end. Blake Monroe and Jordan Grace in a great segment, in my opinion. Hank and Tank defeated the Calling with the interference of Zaruka. So Ruka attacking Izzy Dame and Zarya picking up Tatum Paxley. There was a big segment with all the women at Evolution announced. Jada Parker, Lola Vitus, Kalani Jordan, Izzy Dame, Tatum Paxley, Lash Legend, and Stephanie Vaquer, who I think is going to win, made her triumphant return to NXT.
Hey guys, welcome back to In Your House. That was NXT in a minute. That was my son Elijah. He put it down right there, letting y'all know
He
all things
did.
that's going down on the yellow brand over there on NXT. And I thought that was real good, Annie.
Really was. He bullet point after bullet point after bullet point. Like, and that's hard to do in a minute. So
Oh
big,
yeah,
big, big credit to Alajuan.
that's
Awesome.
great.
Awesome.
That's crazy. He
Awesome.
actually kept that within a minute.
Yeah. It would have taken me at least five with so many different side quests. So
Oh yeah, I
big,
definitely would have
big.
had other things to
Oh
say
yeah,
in there.
for sure, for sure. So like that's something I rarely do myself. So good for him.
Yeah, most definitely. That's NXT in a minute. We're trying to add a little bit more of those in the future. But we got to talk Evolution because this is the second time they've done Evolution, all women's pay per view. And, a lot of different thoughts on this show, whatever, ticket sales, yada, 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 whatever you feel about it. But for me, when I look at the card itself, it really does look like a really great show, and I want to talk about the wrestling that's going to be happening because I think there's going to be some real good matches, some that I'm super excited for, that we're definitely gonna talk about. But I gotta ask you before I get your predictions with that whole card, with the Evolution 2 card. Is there any particular match that you're excited for? Like any one, maybe two matches?
I'm excited for the no holds barred match between Jade Cargill and Naomi. Like
Hmm.
these two have been going at it for the last 6 months, and I
Yeah.
can't wait to see them beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. And to add to that
Yes,
is I think that match is going to be super pivotal in Jade's ascension towards her SummerSlam match
I
because
agree.
I think that there's people that are she's still there's always been that question about how Chris she could be in the ring. Is she, the next generation? Does she have that it factor? Yes, but can she be somebody that you put the women's division on their back and just watch them take it to another stratosphere? I think that we have to see in that no holds barred match a different Jade Cargill against Naomi.
You know, each time she steps in the ring, she's a little quicker, she's more solid, and I feel like once we get to SummerSlam, I think we will see the best version of Jade. I see a lot of criticism. I mean, it's hard being a woman in this business. It really is. All eyes on you. You're under so many microscopes. Like no one understands unless they're in that type of position. And Jade Cargill is in that position for a reason. So, criticism or not, she's holding it down, and I'm gonna give her that credit. So, um, and Naomi, like this is my favorite iteration of Naomi.
It's been so good.
It really has. Like someone who has fallen from that pedestal she's been on for the last ever, and she's clawing her way back up, and it's riveting. It's riveting to see how she thinks, how we see this completely different side of someone we've loved for so long. I like seeing the shadow of that, and I really feel like it's gonna come fully unleashed in this match on Evolution.
Yeah, I think that match is going to be really good. That's
Do you,
definitely one to look forward to.
do you think that this is the blow off between them?
No, I think it's gonna continue. They might cool it off, but I don't think it's done for good. I think we're definitely going to see more of these two at some point, especially with the fact that you got Jade, who is the Queen of the Ring, so she's got her SummerSlam match, and then you have Naomi, who's Miss Money in the Bank. Those two could collide over that title fairly soon. So I think it's just a bridging us to something else.
What other pay per views do we have um, after Evolution, after this week, before SummerSlam? Is there any more?
I think that's it. I think that's
Okay.
it. I believe. I know at some
Okay.
point we have like a Clash in Paris coming up, but I believe
Yeah.
Clash in
That's
Paris might be after SummerSlam.
yeah. I feel like that's correct.
So, yeah, I'm we'll have to see for sure on that. But as far as matches I'm excited for that night, I definitely would have to say the women's IC championship
Mhm.
match between Becky Lynch, Bailey, and Lyra Valkyria. I think the wrestling is going to be really good, and I think Lyra Valkyria is going to really come out of that situation better than she was before. Like you have solid vets with Becky Lynch, who's
Mhm.
trying to do everything she can to get Lyra over. Bailey, who's kind of doing the same, and Bailey's always been a diligent vet. I really feel like Lyra Valkyria is in position to really have a great showing at Evolution
Mhm.
and possibly even come out of that match with the Intercontinental Championship once again.
Yeah, that's and also, like, do you think Lyra is gonna be the first two-time?
I believe she will. I do. I mean, I just think that within the mess between Becky Lynch
Mhm.
and Bailey, I think she's going to take advantage.
Mhm.
And I think that we'll see her stand tall because I do truly believe that by design this feud is to make Lyra look
Mm,
good. Like I truly
mhm.
do.
And what do you think of Bailey's run? I can't talk. Bailey's run since she's been back from injury.
What do I think about Bailey's run?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Bailey has been, I think she's been a little bit more like intense, like you kind of
Mhm.
brought it up earlier with, with what she said as far as raising her hand like a little bitch. But I think she's just going out there and once again, like I said, just being the diligent vet. Like, I
Mhm.
don't think she's trying to be any gimmick or anything. I think she's just trying to be Bailey. And I think she's just trying to go out there and do her job and have good matches. I think we've gotten to a point where we just appreciate Bailey for Bailey, and we're seeing her, really do well in like the mid card, and she's accepting that. But Bailey always seems like the type of person that's like, I'm just accepting of anything that you give me. Like
Mhm.
he just really is. It's almost kind of like Chris Jericho in a way. Chris Jericho was somebody in WWE, and even now to this day is somebody you could put him in the mid card and he'll make it work, or you could put him in the main event and he's gonna make it work. Or if you have him putting over talent and he's gonna make it work. That's exactly where Bailey is. Bailey is in such an interesting lane that it's just like respect Bailey. You just respect
Mhm.
Bailey and everything that she does now.
I also think that's a huge way to solidify a long-term role within WWE. You
Yeah.
know, it's always like people's roles have always been temporary, but it's how do you stick out to preserve your legacy there? That's one way to do it.
It's a very, very um particular skill to be
Mhm.
able to take anything and make it work.
Because not everyone has the skill to do that, and
For
Bailey
sure.
is a good one who's good at remaining neutral, and she can really she's starting to really solidify to me that she can do just about anything.
Yeah. I truly feel like Bailey took a different vibe with me when she was like that time when she was doing NXT and then
Mhm.
SmackDown at the same time, and then
Right.
that one weekend where it was like Friday she uh Friday she worked the celebrity NBA All Star game. She was part of
Mhm.
on the celebrity team for that on Friday. Then she wrestled like NXT on Saturday. Then wrestled some WWPLE on Sunday, and I was just like, Bailey's just out here doing stuff. Like, you can't really box Bailey in because you don't know what
Mhm.
Bailey's gonna do next. She one minute she'll be playing basketball during All Star Weekend. Next, she'll be on her Instagram hanging out with their cats or partying on the boat or at a 49ers game, or she might be on the red carpet somewhere.
Mhm.
Bailey has just become like the cool chick that like everybody kind of vibes with, and we're
Mhm.
just following her journey, man. Like it's Bailey living in it.
Right. I couldn't agree more. You said it so well.
That's how I, at least that's my how I see Bailey. You know, like that's how I see her. But let's jump into these predictions because I definitely want to get
Absolutely.
some of your thoughts on it for
Hmm.
sure. I wanted to get some of your thoughts on some of the matches that me and you are excited for. But let's start with your match that you were excited for: Jade Cargill and Naomi. No holds barred match. It's going to be Miss Money in the Bank up against the Queen of the Ring in a no holds barred match. Who do you got? Who do you think is going to win this one?
You know what? This one, I think it's going to be Naomi. I
Okay.
you know
Okay.
might be a little counterproductive for Jade not to go over leading up to SummerSlam, but I feel like with some more adversity in front of her, I feel like it's going to make her even stronger because she becomes even more of Jade Cargill when she is in the trenches, and I feel like that is going to give her even more credibility to her name. You know, how do you
Sure.
overcome such a tough loss? What do you do with that failure, and how do you pivot from there?
Yep. Who do you become from that failure, especially from at the time
Mhm,
that from the time that she's having that match is going to be like 2 or 3 weeks out from the
mhm,
biggest match of her career at
mhm.
SummerSlam. So, how do you bounce back from that?
And especially because so many people are probably banking on her to not to do well. If she can really like hone in on what she's working on and really narrow in on that focus, she's going to defy all of those odds.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely see the vision with that. In
Mhm,
my mind though, I sooner think the WWE formula is that they would have Jade win
mhm.
just because you have Naomi who's missed money in the bank. So even if she takes a loss, whenever she cashes in, that doesn't even matter anymore.
Right.
And then in WWE's mind, they're like, oh, well, we want Jade to have momentum going into SummerSlam to make it look like she can actually contend against Tiffany Stratton, which right now is looking like it's going to be Tiffany Stratton, unless there's some time where Naomi cashes in before then.
Mhm.
We don't know what she's going to do, especially with the unpredictability of the Money in the Bank briefcase and the unpredictability of Naomi in her current incarnation. You just don't know what's going to happen.
Mhm.
But if I'm following WWE formula, I would say that Jade would win,
I
but
agree.
I
Yeah,
definitely
fair.
wouldn't be mad if Naomi ended up winning it.
Uh, I just had to take a shot in the dark. I had to say Naomi, but it's realistically it will be Jade.
It seems like I said, I just go against what
Mhm.
however
Sure.
WWE is writing it. I would
100%.
love to see like either honestly either way I'm fine. To
Right.
be honest with
Right.
you, either way I'm fine as long as the match is clean, it looks brutal, and like there's a way that Jade could lose that thing and still look good from it, especially if there's a lot of brutality and it's a
Right.
no hold bars match between two bitter rivals. This is a blood feud. I really do need this to be amped up. So
You
that's what
do.
I expect. I don't expect it to be cookie cutter. I'm
Mm-mm.
not saying it needs to be a death match or anything like that, but I'm just saying they have to really turn it up, and
Yeah.
that's what I'm expecting from that match.
I really wanna see the brutality from this.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Let's go ahead and talk about the match I'm super excited for, which is Becky Lynch, Bailey,
Mhm.
and Lyra Valkyria for the Women's Intercontinental Championship in a triple threat match. Three of WWE's finest in ring competitors going for the mid card championship. I love it because I'm a huge fan of the Intercontinental Championship as a whole. But who do you got in this match? Who do you think is going to win? Lynch, Bailey, or Valkyria?
I'm gonna go with Valkyria. I think she's gonna take
Okay.
it. I think she's gonna be two-time. Um, mainly, I don't think Becky or Bailey really need it. I
No,
feel
no,
like
no.
they could be removed from this picture and inserted into any other place on the card, and they're going to do just fine. But I feel like the person who would benefit the most would be Lyra.
Yeah, yeah, I'm with you. I really, truly am. I think Lyra's going to come out of this a two-time women's intercontinental champion. Not only the first to ever hold it, but the first to ever hold it two times. And I
Mhm.
just think in this match, I think the match is going to be good. I think we're going to get a really good match between the three women. That's what I'm excited for is the between the bell action that we're going to see between these three. I just think it's going to be top tier. But I think the story is going to be that Lyra's going to take advantage of the very real hatred that
Hmm.
Becky Lynch and Bailey have for each other. And she's just going to take advantage and she's going to take her title back. And I think that's the smartest story to tell in this triple threat match.
And yes, there is contention between Bailey and Lyra, but I think Lyra will disengage enough from that and just focus on Becky.
Yeah. And
Yep.
then getting the title back.
Yep.
There's going to be some situation where those two are going to get too aggressive with each other or too emotional and like Lyra's just going to straight up take advantage of the
Hmm.
situation. I truly believe that's what's going to happen because like I said earlier on this very show, I truly do think that this feud is designed to elevate Lyra Valkyria. So I think that's what could happen for certain. We've got a few comments up in here. We've got El Juggalo saying that since we're talking Monday nights, I'm going to say this: JCW started a Monday Night War with WWE last Monday. All right, JCW is out here. All right, all
Hmm.
right. I didn't realize they was running shows on Monday like that.
Guess they are.
Yeah, looks
Yes,
like
they
it.
are.
Looks
Yeah.
like it. So yeah, check that out. But let's go ahead and stay here because there is. Listen, this one's going to be a little bit tough, just because I think the only participants that I've seen are like NXT women's division. Like Elijah had said in his video, the names that he's like Jada Parker and Stephanie Vaquera,
Hmm.
names like that. A number one contenders battle royal. And whoever wins the battle royal will earn a title shot at Clash in Paris, though no specific title was specified. I mean, if you want to throw something out there in the dark of who you think might win it, any idea?
Okay, I'm gonna close my eyes and just see where it lands. Stephanie Vicaire.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna go Stephanie Vaquer too. I think she could win it. I think they're trying to find a lane for her because they've already solidified their mid card
Hmm.
as it seems to be her, Roxanne Perez, Julia, and Lyra Valkyria. So that's who they're kind of. I just think it makes sense to bring her in and to give her a purpose because they
Hmm.
brought her on the main roster and then they took her back off of TV. And I just think they might use this possibly as a chance to restart and bring her back on TV again.
And because last night on NXT, that was the first time she's revisited, right?
Yes. Yep.
So, yeah, I think that was smart to take her off TV for the time being. But I don't know, this battle royal, it just seems very I don't know, scrambled and put together, held by glue sticks in WW and WD-40. Just
I
feels very
like
random.
the. It
Uh-huh.
does. I like the idea, but it does feel random. I
Mhm.
think that if we're gonna do a battle royal just to do a battle royal, let's
Yeah.
do something like put a title on the line. And I think they're
Right.
smart to putting a title shot at Clash in Paris,
Mhm.
and at least for that reason, that draws me to it.
Right. Right. Because like you said, we don't know what title will be on the line. But at least it's for a title shot. And
For
it's just
sure.
not a random battle royal. I mean, why?
Exactly. I always hate the random battle royal. It never does anything for me. I mean, the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal,
Mhm.
even this past one, Mello won it. He's off TV. It never
Right.
means anything.
Right.
So, like, if we're gonna do something like this, please give it a purpose.
Like, yeah, I don't like the arbitrary like, why? Yes, people need to be featured, but i- if it's just random, why do it? Why?
Yeah, at least
It,
give it a purpose. If you're
hmm
gonna do it randomly,
Exactly.
at least
I
give it a purpose.
agree.
So, all right, we're gonna move on here because we got the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. We have champions Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez. They're gonna be going up against Alexa Bliss,
Hmm.
Charlotte Flair, and what could be the Kabuki Warriors. I believe the Kabuki Warriors might be involved in this
I
match,
agree.
and then an NXT tag team. As far as that goes, who do you got in that match between the two teams announced and the projected team and the Kabuki Warriors, and then whatever NXT tag team they choose?
Did we know the tag team yet?
I know. I don't think we know it just yet.
Um, I feel
If it might make sense if it was like Sol Ruka and Zarya.
right. Like that's valid because I feel like they are a tag team, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I feel like it's just going to be a random pairing. And okay. But and I think they just reunited Kabuki Warriors just for this moment.
Yes,
And then I feel like Raquel and Roxanne are still going to be the tag team champs after this. That's my pick. I would love for it to be the Kabuki Warriors, but I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think it will either. I'm going. Okay, so for me, the safe pick is Judgment Day. Like
Hmm.
that's the safe pick. But I want to be a little dangerous here. I'm gonna say Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss are gonna win it.
I
I
love it.
think
I love them
I
together.
I think that, and I said this on Sunday, and trust me, I got a lot of pushback because there's people that don't like Charlotte Flair, and there's people that don't like Alexa Bliss, and it's for a lot of different reasons. And I think, like, when you get with the Charlotte Flair thing, I was there too because I was like, man, I just felt like you're not moving like a professional. I feel like you're doing things a certain way that I'm not vibing with. But I do feel like listening to what she's saying in interviews, the things she's had to deal with, I do believe that Charlotte Flair is trying to find a spot for herself where she can represent herself in a more positive light, and we see a little bit more Ashley over Charlotte, and I think that we'll see less like maybe the gaudy robes, less the referee having to come and open the rope for her, treating her like a queen. I think we'll see less of that treatment. And I think that Alexa Bliss is positioning Charlotte Flair to kind of have to be humbled a little bit. And, it's a good lane for both of them because they're both in a point in their career where maybe going to the mid card is what they need to do. Sometimes that's a strike to the ego, especially to somebody like Charlotte Flair, who's always been in the main event, who's always stepped in the front of the line, who's always been the top premier talent. And maybe she's having to, humble herself a little bit. And maybe the story is Alexa Bliss shows her that way. And like, I really feel like that if they embrace this as a tag team, you can see, and the idea is right there. You have two former women's champions. You have somebody like Alexa Bliss, who's a decorated women's tag team champion, had great reigns with Nikki Cross. This could truly be the women's version of rated RKO. It really can. When Edge and Randy Orton came together, already accomplished champions, and they just came together for the greater purpose of just destroying everybody else. And they weren't the best of friends, but they understood that the alliance was necessary. And I think you can see that same thing with Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. I'm allowing this one to cook because I think that this could definitely be a good use of Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair's time, solidifying them in the mid card, putting them in the tag team division, and all the greats have done it. Bianca Belair was in the tag team division for a long time, and we could all argue that she's a perennial main event talent, but she took it with grace. Can Charlotte take it the same way? And if she does, this is going to be huge for both of these women who were just trying to find a spot on the card, but they're taking this and they could really be a great tag team. I even enjoyed the finish between their match where you had the moonsault and then the twisted bliss with the tag, the story that they're telling. I'm really enjoying it right now. So that's going to be the one that I say. I'm going to be dangerous. I think Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair could come out and become the tag champions.
That's definitely possible. I feel like, should Charlotte Flair be relegated to the mid card, she has no choice but to deflate that ginormous ego, which I love, which I absolutely appreciate, because there are few people with the prestige that Charlotte Flair brings. But where do you go when you've done it all?
Yeah.
You go to the back of the line. You fall into obscurity. No one wants to mess with you if you're always dominating every opportunity. And I feel like that's almost what could have happened with Rhea if she hasn't taken the step back and taken the wayward path for a while, because you can't always be champion,
Yep.
because who do you become when where else do you go? You can't, there's a ceiling, and with someone who is, like you said, with running alongside Alexa Bliss, that's such an interesting edge, like I didn't see before, because they could really have an interesting run being tag team champions. And Charlotte Flair, she has that, added uh notch on her resume without being the person who just takes up so much of the singles championship picture.
Yep. I would honestly run them as a. This is just me. If they win the titles, I would have Charlotte kind of rethink things and like and do it on camera. Do it all on camera
Yeah,
where she's rethinking things and like she said things in interviews where she wants to be less Charlotte Flair and more Charlotte, just Charlotte. Like if they run it as tag team, like I don't know what you would call them as a tag team. I would just even call it like Charlotte and Alexa, and just it doesn't have to be Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, just Charlotte and Alexa. Let them kind of like coordinate their entrances, coordinate their gear together and stuff like that, and let Charlotte Flair get lost in a world where she has to coexist with somebody else and see what she can formulate from there.
because it's not all about her.
Right.
She has to depend on someone else. And she has to allow herself to be guided. And I feel
Yep.
like Alexa Bliss, like you said, someone who is a decorated tag team champion, Charlotte Flair needs to take a back seat and let someone else do the driving.
If they do that, it could be literally one of the greatest women's tag teams ever.
I love it. I see the vision.
That's what I think. Like I said, let them be Charlotte and Alexa. Let Charlotte have to deflate that ego. If it was me, I'm like, man, I could really just dive myself into the story, and it really helps Charlotte with the image issues that she's hoping to get through. So that's just my thoughts on it as far as that goes.
And
I
and
really feel like
who
that there's. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
who is more beloved than someone who has a fall from grace and redeems himself? Everyone
Yep.
loves a redemption arc, even for
Yep.
Charlotte Flair. She's no exception.
Yeah, I think she could definitely get in that role and really she wants to be beloved, but you have to do things to be beloved. And I feel like that if she can show the world that she's really not just about herself, that she's not just singular focused, ego driven person. I think this is the correct lane to do it. And present her in a different light, and then we really see a different version of Charlotte that I think would benefit everybody.
She has
So
to
I
show that she's human.
Yep. That's exactly what it is. You have to show the world that you're human, and you gotta, people aren't gonna believe it for a long time until you just kill that role and people are like, damn, now I can't deny this is good. Like she
Hmm.
organically made me believe. And
Hmm.
I think there's a lane for her for sure. Like
I
I
agree.
do. I truly do. But we got to move on here because we got the NXT Women's Championship. JC Jane shocked the world and become the champion, but now she's got to defend against the powerhouse Jordan Grace. Who do you think is going to come out of it as champion?
My girl, Jordan Grace. Without a doubt, it's gonna be Jordan. It's time to pull the trigger. The tiny giant. It's time, and she needs to put down the bird woman, JC Jane.
Honestly, honestly, I feel like JC Jane was just transitional for I feel like she was transitional for Jordan Grace, to be honest with you. I mean, I like the fact that they popped everybody with JC Jane. That was cool for what it was. Like I was shocked. Like Zay came to me, he was shocked and was like, They really pulled it with JC Jane." I couldn't believe it because it felt like they didn't see her in that light. But they put the title on her, and now it just feels like a good time to transition it over to Jordan Grace. So yeah, I'm with you. I think it's Jordan Grace.
And you know what? Kudos to JC Jane because I never saw it. So that means there must be some plans for her in the woodwork.
Maybe something down the line, but yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't think they wanted her to beat Stephanie Vaquer for it. You know what
I
I'm
agree.
saying?
I agree. Yeah, that felt a little that felt very strange to me. But like I
I
said, I
just
don't do the writing.
it was weird, but I just think they don't want to give you Stephanie and Jordan Grace off the bat right now like that.
Agreed.
So this is how you put the title on Grace and keep those two away from each other. So
Hmm.
that could be interesting. But yeah, I'm with you. I think Jordan Grace has her moment at Evolution and she gets the title. Tiffany Stratton, she's going to be defending the WWE Women's Championship against her handpicked opponent, Trish Stratus. Who do you got?
It's gonna be Tiffany Stratton
Mhm.
again, and then I think she's gonna drop at SummerSlam because she's been champion for what? How long now?
It's
Almost a
been
year?
before,
No,
well, not a year. It's been
not a year.
before Mania. It wasn't
Okay,
like February because it was like a
yeah, yeah, yeah.
random SmackDown when she cashed in.
Right, right. Okay. No, it was her. She cashed in last year at SummerSlam. That's what I'm thinking of. No, she didn't. I don't know what I'm talking about. No one knows what I'm
It
talking
was
about.
like on a random SmackDown in like
Right.
February when she cashed
Okay.
in.
Yep. Okay. Yep. I think it's gonna be Tiffany over Trish.
Yeah, I'm with you there. This one seems like so easy. Like it seems like it's most definitely going to be Tiffany because what would be the point of a Trish Stratus title reign right now unless I'm always saying unless just because it's fun to do that, but unless we get unless Trish turns on Tiffany, maybe does some heel turn, wins the title off of her, and we get thank you Trish back. So I mean, she just was running heel about like maybe 2 years ago, something like
Hmm.
that, when she had Zoe Starks as her heavy. So she
Hmm.
could go back to that. But all in all, I think it's going to be Tiffany Stratton. If I was
Yeah, I
putting
think
money
it's
on
gonna
it, it's Tiffany Stratton. I don't think they're going to go through all that stuff to turn Trish Stratus heel this close before SummerSlam. I just don't.
mhm.
It's Tiffany
I agree.
Stratton. So
I agree. Yep.
that's where I'm at with that. And then the Women's World Championship match, Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley. We've seen this story written before, and it seems like Io Sky always comes out on top. But who do you think it's going to be, Io Sky or Rhea Ripley?
I think it's gonna be Rhea again. I think she's gonna get it. This title run from I don't think I don't think EO has had a very she's had an okay run this
Yeah.
time around, but I think it's gonna be Rhea. I think she's been um molded for this win right now, and I think it's gonna be Rhea.
Yeah, I would really love to see a reality where we would be able to see Io Sky and Asuka go at it at SummerSlam. That would just be
Hmm.
such a great match, in my opinion. But I don't think that that's going to happen. I think it's going to be Rhea Ripley. This is SummerSlam. SummerSlam is another one of those big pay per views,
Hmm.
those big PLEs. They consider it. a Royal Rumble. They consider it a WrestleMania. It's one of the big four. You want your top tier. Not saying that Io Sky is not top tier. I think Io Sky is incredibly talented and amazing. But when it comes to star power and, mainstream appeal, it's Rhea Ripley all day.
It's
They're going to be in New
right.
York. They're going to be in New Jersey. They're going to want all the stars to come out, all the biggest WWE representatives. It just seems to be a layup for Rhea Ripley to go to SummerSlam as the women's world champion.
I agree, and Rhea Ripley is one of those people right now where all of the eyes in the world are on her. So I feel like they are going to pull the trigger on Rhea on at Evolution.
Yeah, I do too. It just seems to be the way that the wind is blowing. And like I said, mainstream stars coming out. So that if they do that, that's going to be very interesting what they do as far as who she's going to defend it against at SummerSlam. We'll see what happens there when that time comes. But our time has come to call this a really great episode. It really was a good one. We got a chance to talk all things Monday Night Raw. Squeeze some NXT in there with you for a minute, and then we gave my and Annie's predictions for this coming Sunday's Evolution. It was great to have you back on the show, Annie. We appreciate you coming through and being a trooper because I know you're just getting over an illness, so we appreciate it. And I want to give that appreciation by giving you the floor here, plug in anything that you got coming up or anywhere that anybody can catch you at.
This Friday, it's going down. Ray Larson goes head to head with B. Priestley, formerly known as Blair Davenport. For the first
Oh
time
my
ever,
God.
the women's main event will be headlining CCW. So she makes history wherever she goes. So congrats to Ray Larson for such an amazing accomplishment coming up.
That's awesome.
Yeah, like she's been killing it in the gym. She's in the ring anytime that she gets, and it's awesome. I'm just really proud of her. She's just such a great friend of mine. Um what else am I doing? I have August 9th, the first ever women's show at Frontline Pro. I will be on the desk with Steve Arndt and Chris Lockman. That's going to be amazing. We have so many amazing women in representing different forms and styles, and it's going to be great. It's the women in the spotlight exactly where they deserve to be. That's going to be fun. Um, I feel like I'm forgetting something, and I probably am, but and it's all that's going on for me right now. Friend, how about you?
Man, I'll be doing my thing right here in your house and just putting on some shows here, kind of chilling out for the summer. Got some shows down the line that I'll be putting out there for everybody to check out, but kind of just enjoying my summer and putting out content and doing all the things I'm normally doing here, but I'll definitely be popping out at some point and out there where people can see me doing my thing. Sam Knight is having his retirement tour, and we could be linking up very soon at some shows, so check that out. I could put some out on social media once I get some confirmed, but mainly, once again, making sure everything goes down here at In Your House. We have some great shows, whether it be on Monday with Window Liquors with a great crew there, or us doing our thing here on Wednesdays. The Raw deal. We talk all things Monday Night Raw. And then on Thursdays, we get Extreme, our ECW watch along. Remember, guys, we're watching November to Remember 1999 tomorrow. We far. It has been a great view to watch all of these shows leading up to November to Remember 1999. So that's going to be most definitely fun. Check out a way to join us in our Discord. Join our Discord, and I got links for that I'll be putting out in the show notes here as well. So join that. But yeah, then hit us up on Sundays. We talk all things wrestling. It's going to be a heavy one this coming Sunday because there's so many shows to talk about. So join us there. And guys, this is just what we do here. We put in all of the work, and that's HOWSE, and the W stands for work. So for Divinely Designed, Annie O'Neal, and the whole team here at In Your House, I'm Alakon the Concept House, here to remind you to tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell a friend to hop on this bandwagon. Get on or get gone, because the household is still going mighty strong. You guys have a great day and a great rest of your week. Peace.
Yeah. Yeah. In your house with O'Con. Hey, O'Con in your house. Hollywood in your house. Hypocrisy's head in the clouds. Curating all kind of loud. Wrestling in front of the crowds. Paragon's holding it down. Anybody can get it. Josh Joseph standing on his decisions. He is the voice. There is no choice. We as them boys in your house making wrestling noise. Moving fast just like cruiserweight action. In your house is the perfect distraction. Rumpus in your ears when you in traction. Get this work with some wrestling action. Smoke.